Hello, my dear friend. If you are a woman in your late 60s, 70s, or beyond, and you sometimes wonder, is there more to these years than aches and quiet days? Then I made this just for you. You see, I believe something beautiful. Happiness is not something we leave behind in our youth. It is something we can still grow into every single day. And I want to share with you the 12 habits that have helped me do just that. Feel alive, joyful, and peaceful, even in my 70s. Now, these are not complicated routines or impossible goals. They are simple, soulful practices, ones that have carried me through grief, through change, and through everyday moments of stillness. Some of them might surprise you, others might feel like gentle reminders from an old friend. But each one has the power to open your heart just a little more to the life that is still unfolding around you. So, pour yourself a warm cup of something comforting. Settle in and come walk with me, heart to heart, as I share the quiet wisdom that has made these years not just livable, but truly meaningful. Let us begin. The first habit that has truly changed how I move through each day is taking time for daily reflection. Now, I know that word reflection can sound a bit fancy or even a little too quiet for some. But let me tell you, it has become the most peaceful and grounding part of my life. Every evening, usually just after dinner, when the house feels still and the sun starts to dip below the trees, I sit by my window. Sometimes I light a small candle. Sometimes I just sit in silence. And in those moments, I gently look back at my day. Not to judge it, not to fix anything, but simply to notice. I ask myself simple things. What made me smile today? Did anything frustrate me? What surprised me? There are no right or wrong answers. It is just a quiet space to be honest with myself. Some evenings I write in a little notebook. Nothing fancy, just a few sentences. Other times I simply hold the thoughts in my heart. And do you know what happens when you make reflection a habit? You begin to see your life not just as a list of tasks or hours gone by, but as something sacred. You start to notice the small victories, like the fact that you made yourself a healthy meal or that you took a short walk even when you were tired. You give yourself credit. You remember that your days still matter. We are often so quick to see what we have not done, but reflection teaches us to see what we have done with grace, with effort, with love. So tonight, before the day slips away, I invite you to pause, breathe, ask yourself, what part of today will I carry with me into tomorrow? That is where peace begins, not in the loud moments, but in the quiet ones you take just for you. Habit number 2, learn something new every single day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. At my age, do I really need to keep learning? And my answer, with a big smile, is yes, but not in the way you might imagine. This habit is not about going back to school or memorizing facts from a book. It is about keeping your curiosity alive. You see, when we stop learning, we start to slowly disconnect from the world around us. But when we stay open, even just a little, life keeps feeling fresh and meaningful. For me, learning can be something as small as hearing a new word on the radio and looking up what it means, or watching a cooking show and trying out a recipe I have never made before. Just last week, I asked my grandson to show me how to send voice messages from my phone. He laughed, but we had such a good time figuring it out together. And now, instead of typing long texts with my tired fingers, I just talk into the phone. And it feels like magic. Sometimes learning something new means being bad at it first. When I first tried watercolor painting last year, my flowers looked more like blobs than blossoms. But I kept going, not because I wanted to be perfect, but because it made me feel alive to try. The truth is, when you challenge your brain, even in gentle ways, you keep your mind sharper, your heart lighter, and your days more interesting. So ask yourself, what is something I have always been curious about but never tried? Maybe it is a new hobby, maybe a piece of history, maybe just learning how to finally use that button on the microwave. The point is not what you learn, it is that you keep learning. Because every day you learn something new, you remind yourself that growth does not have an age limit, and that, my dear, is a beautiful thing. Habit number 3, connect with someone every day. Loneliness is something many of us know more intimately than we'd like to admit. It can sneak in quietly, even when the house is full. And in these later chapters of life, when routines change and familiar faces fade away, connection becomes not just comforting, but essential. That is why I make it a point to connect with someone every single day. It does not have to be long or deep, it just has to be real. Some days, I call an old friend and we laugh about the silly things we used to do in our 20s. Other days, it's a quick chat with my neighbor as I water the flowers. Even a simple good morning to the woman at the grocery store can be enough to lift my spirit. One of my favorite moments is when I send my daughter a little voice message in the morning just to say I'm thinking of her. She always replies with a sweet message back, even if she's busy. That exchange, that little ripple of love, reminds me that I'm still part of someone's world. You do not have to wait for a special occasion to reach out, and you do not have to talk for hours. A note, a phone call, a short walk with a friend, these are the threads that keep us woven into the fabric of life. And if you're feeling especially isolated, my dear, know this, you are not alone. There are community groups, senior centers, church circles, and book clubs out there filled with folks just like you, looking for a warm hello and a listening ear. Connection is not just good for the heart, it is good for the soul. When you make it a habit to reach out, even just a little each day, you will find that your world begins to feel fuller, softer, and more meaningful. So ask yourself today, who can I reach out to? Who might need to hear from me? And remember, sometimes the connection you offer to someone else is exactly what you needed too. Habit number 4, start every morning with gratitude. Before I get out of bed, before my feet even touch the floor, I take a quiet moment just for myself. I close my eyes, place one hand over my heart, and think of 3 things I am grateful for. Sometimes they are small, like the comfort of my warm blanket or the sound of birds outside my window. Other times they are deeper, like the strength to face another day or the memory of a kind word from someone I love. This simple practice, just a minute or 2 each morning, has gently reshaped how I see my life. You see, when we begin the day with gratitude, we shift our focus. Instead of waking up with thoughts of what hurts, what's missing, or what needs to be done, we start with what's already right. And the beautiful thing is, the more we notice what we're thankful for, the more those moments seem to multiply. A smile from a stranger feels warmer. A cup of tea tastes richer. The aches in our body feel a little more bearable because we are looking through the lens of appreciation. I once read that gratitude is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And I believe that's true, especially in our later years when we've seen so much and lost so much. Gratitude becomes not just a feeling, but a way of surviving with grace. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your slippers or check the clock, pause, breathe, ask yourself, what am I thankful for right now? Let your day begin not with noise or worry, but with peace. That one moment of stillness might just be the most powerful thing you do all day. Habit number 5, move your body gently and consistently. Now, let me be clear. I am not talking about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. No, thank you. What I am talking about is simple, steady movement, the kind that keeps your body humming, your joints looser, and your spirit lighter. Every morning, I do a few slow stretches right in my living room. I reach my arms up, roll my shoulders, and stretch my back just enough to wake everything up. Some days I take a short walk around the block. Other days I put on a little music, usually something from the 1950s, and dance around the kitchen while making breakfast. It is not about perfection. It is not even about breaking a sweat. It is about reminding your body, hey, I still need you. We are in this together. As we age, movement becomes less about fitness and more about freedom. The freedom to carry our own groceries. The freedom to climb a step without pain. The freedom to get out of bed in the morning without feeling stiff or sore. And let me tell you, when I skip a day or two, I feel it. The stiffness creeps in faster than it used to. That is why consistency matters more than intensity. A few minutes every day, done with love and patience, goes a long way. If you are not sure where to start, try something gentle. Chair yoga, light stretching, a walk in your garden. Even 10 minutes makes a difference. And if you are dealing with pain or limited mobility, talk with your doctor or a physical therapist about what is safe and helpful for you. There is always something you can do to honor your body just as it is right now. So today, I invite you, move in a way that feels kind, not to punish your body, but to thank it. You have lived so much life in this body. It deserves care, not criticism. And remember, every step, every stretch, every sway to the music, it is a celebration of the fact that you are still here, still able, still beautifully alive. Habit number 6, embrace small acts of kindness. Kindness does not need a stage. It does not need applause. In fact, the most powerful acts of kindness are often the quietest ones, unnoticed by the world, but unforgettable to the heart. Every week, I try to do something thoughtful for someone else. Nothing grand, nothing complicated. Sometimes I bake an extra batch of muffins and bring them to my neighbor. Other times I write a handwritten note to someone I have not seen in a while, just to tell them I am thinking of them. One of the simplest acts I've started doing is leaving little thank you notes for people who serve me. The pharmacy clerk, the mail carrier, even the young man who bags my groceries. You would be surprised at how much it touches people when they are seen, even for just a moment. But here is what I have learned. Kindness is not just something we give to others. It is something we must also give to ourselves. So many of us carry old stories, harsh inner voices, or guilt from things long gone. But part of growing wiser is learning to let go of that weight and offer ourselves the same gentleness we give to everyone else. Be kind to the woman you see in the mirror. Speak to her softly. Forgive her fully. She has weathered storms and carried burdens the world never saw. She deserves your love. Kindness, both given and received, ripples out far beyond what we can see. It lifts spirits. It restores hope. It builds bridges, sometimes across generations, sometimes across hearts. So today, ask yourself, what small act of kindness can I offer to someone else? And what kindness can I show to myself? The world may not always be easy, but every kind word, every generous gesture, every moment of compassion is a reminder that love is still alive, and so are we. Habit number 7, surround yourself with beauty. There is something deeply healing about beauty, not the kind we see in magazines or store windows, but the quiet kind that lives in the corners of our homes and the rhythms of our everyday lives. For me, beauty looks like a vase of fresh flowers on the kitchen table. It sounds like the soft crackle of a candle as I read a book in the evening. It feels like a well-worn quilt draped over my lap, the one my mother stitched by hand when I had my first child. These are not expensive things. They are not perfect or new, but they are meaningful. They bring comfort, and they make my space feel like mine. When we reach our 70s, 80s, and beyond, our world can sometimes shrink. We may not travel as often or fill our calendars like we once did. That is why the environment we live in, the space we wake up to, eat in, rest in, becomes even more important. It becomes a reflection of how we care for ourselves. Take a moment and look around your home. Is there a corner you could soften, a photo you could frame, a cozy chair that could use a pillow or blanket to invite you in? It does not have to be fancy, it just has to feel like you. And beauty is not only found inside. Some mornings I step out into my garden and sit quietly, listening to the birds. Even the act of noticing the shape of a leaf, the light coming through the window, the smell of rain can be a kind of prayer. Creating and appreciating beauty is not about impressing anyone. It is about honoring your space, your history, and your right to feel peaceful right where you are. So ask yourself today, what brings a sense of beauty to your life? And how can you invite a little more of it in, just for you? Because when we surround ourselves with things that soothe the soul, we remind ourselves that this season of life is not just about surviving, it is about savoring. Habit number 8, celebrate what you have accomplished. We spend so much of our lives pushing forward, raising families, working jobs, caring for others, solving problems, and somewhere along the way, we forget to look back and truly honor just how far we have come. This habit, celebrating what I have already done, has become one of the most healing things I do for myself. Because the truth is, we often measure our worth by what we are still trying to achieve. But what if, instead, we pause to acknowledge what we have already overcome? Some days, I sit down with a cup of tea and pull out an old photo album. I look at the faces of my children when they were young, my husband in his army uniform, the house we bought when money was tight. Each image is a chapter. Each memory is a victory. I think about the hard seasons, the losses, the changes, the times I thought I would never get through, and I realize I did. Not always gracefully, not always easily, but I made it. That counts. Even the small things deserve recognition. Did you make yourself a healthy meal today? That matters. Did you walk a little farther than usual? That matters too. Every step, every choice, every moment of resilience is proof that you are still growing. It is easy to dwell on what we can no longer do, but there is so much power in choosing to see what we have done and continue to do with strength, courage, and grace. So today, take a moment, reflect. Maybe write down 3 things you are proud of. Maybe say them out loud. Maybe just smile quietly to yourself as you remember. Because no matter your age, your story is still unfolding. And every page before this one is something to be deeply proud of. Habit number 9, enjoy a meaningful morning ritual. There is something sacred about the very first moments of the day, that hush before the world fully wakes up, when the light is soft, the air is still, and everything feels possible. For years now, I have made it a point to begin each morning with a ritual that belongs only to me. It is not elaborate, it is not rushed, it is mine. Most mornings I make myself a cup of hot tea, black with a spoonful of honey, and I take it to the chair by the front window. I sit quietly, sip slowly, and look out at the trees. Some days the sky is gray, Some days the sun peeks through the leaves like a shy smile. Either way, I let myself be in that moment. This time is not about checking the news or planning my schedule. It is about grounding myself, setting the tone for how I want to feel that day. For you, a meaningful morning ritual might look different. Maybe it is reading a few verses from your Bible. Maybe it is writing in a journal or stretching your arms toward the ceiling. Maybe it is just sitting with your pet and listening to the silence. The activity itself is not what matters. What matters is the intention behind it. When we give ourselves that gift, a slow, nourishing start to the day, we send ourselves a message. I am worthy of care. I deserve gentleness. And that small act of self-respect echoes through the hours that follow. You are less rushed, more present, and more connected to your own rhythm. So tomorrow morning, before the busyness begins, or even if your day is wide open, try creating a little ritual just for you. Let it be simple. Let it be soothing, and let it remind you that how you start your day can shape everything that comes after. Habit number 10. Get outside for fresh air every day. There is something healing about stepping outside, even if it is just for a few minutes. The air feels different, the noise of the world softens, and your body, your mind, your spirit, they all seem to breathe a little easier. Every day, rain or shine, I make it a point to go outside. Sometimes it is just a few steps onto the porch with my morning tea. Other times it is a short stroll around the block, saying hello to neighbors or listening to the leaves rustle in the breeze. There is something deeply comforting about knowing the world is still turning, still alive with movement and light. I believe nature has a way of putting things into perspective. When you see the sunlight dancing on the grass or hear the birds chirping like tiny musicians in the trees, your worries seem to shrink, not disappear, but become more manageable. It is like the earth is quietly reminding you that life continues, and so do you. Fresh air is more than just good for your lungs. It is good for your soul. Even 20 minutes outdoors can lower stress, boost your mood, and improve your sleep. And if you can catch a little sunshine on your skin, your body will thank you with a healthy dose of vitamin D. If walking is difficult, do not worry. Pull a chair out to the porch or near an open window. Tend to a few plants or simply sit with the sounds of the world around you. Let yourself be present. Let the breeze remind you that you are part of something bigger. So today, my dear, step outside, even for a moment. Breathe in the fresh air. Feel the sky above you. Look around and notice one beautiful thing. Let nature speak softly to you. It has so much to say, and it always welcomes you back. Habit number 11, prioritize laughter and joy. There is a kind of magic in laughter, the kind that lifts your spirit even when the world feels heavy. And I have learned through the years that joy is not something that just happens to us. It is something we choose to invite in. Each day, I make it a priority, yes, a priority, to find something that makes me laugh or smile. Sometimes it is watching an old comedy show that reminds me of sitting on the couch with my husband years ago. Other times it is hearing my granddaughter tell a silly story about school and laughing so hard I wipe tears from my cheeks. There is a deep kind of healing in letting yourself enjoy things fully, even the little things. A song that brings back memories, a bite of your favorite dessert, a moment when you look in the mirror and chuckle at the way your hair decided to do its own thing that day. That is joy. That is life. And joy does not have to be loud or dramatic. It can be quiet and gentle, like the peaceful happiness of petting a dog, or the smile that comes from finishing a crossword puzzle, or dancing in your socks to a song only you can hear. Did you know that laughter actually boosts your immune system, lowers stress, and even helps relieve pain? Science has proven what our hearts have known all along, that joy is good for us. It keeps us young in ways no cream or medicine ever could. So let joy be part of your routine, not an afterthought. Seek it, welcome it, and protect it. Because no matter your age, you still deserve to feel lighthearted, to giggle, to grin, to be fully, brightly, wonderfully you. Habit number 12. Nourish your body with love. As we grow older, we come to understand that the body is not just a vessel, it is our home. And just like any home, it deserves to be cared for, tended to, and treated with kindness. This habit, nourishing my body with love, is not about dieting or following strict rules. It is about tuning in, listening closely, and asking myself, what do I need today to feel strong, balanced, and well? For me, that means eating meals that are full of color, warmth, and flavor. Fresh fruits, roasted vegetables, hearty soups, whole grains. I drink plenty of water, and yes, I still enjoy a piece of chocolate after dinner, because nourishment is not just about nutrients, it is about satisfaction and joy too. Over time, I have learned to slow down when I eat. I sit at the table. I chew with intention. I say a quiet thank you before my first bite. This transforms each meal from a task into a ritual, one that reminds me I am worthy of care, of nourishment, of gentleness. And it is not just about food. Nourishing your body also means rest, stretching, moving when you can, getting enough sleep, taking a nap without guilt. Your body has carried you through decades, through joys, through losses, through everything in between. It deserves your gratitude. So today, ask yourself, am I feeding myself with love? Am I treating this body with the respect it has earned? Because every bite, every glass of water, every deep breath is a way of saying, thank you, I'm still here, and I choose to care for myself. You are not just surviving, you are still living, and your body, no matter its shape or speed, is still a sacred place where that life happens. And there you have it, my dear. 12 small habits that have helped me feel more joyful, more grounded, and more alive in this beautiful season of life. You do not need to try them all at once. Just begin with one. Let it take root in your day, and watch how it softens your heart, how it brings a little more light into the ordinary. You are not too old to change, you are not too late to grow, and you are certainly not done feeling joy. If this spoke to you, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment and share which habit you'll start with. And if you have your own secret to a joyful life, tell me that too. We are all still learning from one another. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, be proud of how far you've come, and remember, there is still so much beauty ahead. Take care, my friend. You are deeply loved.